What's going on, everyone? We're here to talk to you all about morals and commission for hands-on activity 4. I'm Connor here with Michelle and Cole. I'm going to kick things off, and then Michelle's going to kind of take over in the middle, and then Cole's going to bring it home. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so some background regarding the link between ethics and commission. Ethics is a key driver in a sales organization success as it affects the organization's capability to build strong relationships with customers and develop a positive work environment for sales employees. The purpose of effective sales compensation is to recognize the role fulfilled by salespeople to maximize customer lifetime value as a result of ethical sales behavior. Effective compensation planning aligns the pay opportunities of a sales force with long-term objectives of the organization by creating an environment of mutual trust, confidence, and success. However, we know that not all organizations and salespeople are ethical. Unethical behaviors such as pushing a short-term sale to the finish line by telling the customer you'll hit quota if they buy now is an unfortunate, common practice, especially in organizations that incentivize short-term gains over long-term success. A couple of indicators of ethics are trust and credibility with the customer, as well as following through on commitments you've made to them. 3 key ways a salesperson can build trust and credibility with their customer are by sharing credible data, being mindful of nonverbal communication, such as maintaining eye contact, but not staring too intensely as it can make people feel uncomfortable, and asking open-ended questions. Following through on commitments to the customer is pretty straightforward, as you don't want to promise a bunch of things that you / your company cannot fully execute. A common sales phrase to sum this up is always under promise and over deliver. I've received this advice multiple times in the real world from sales managers of mine, and it's a great way to establish trust and credibility with the customer. Leading by example is another great indicator of ethics, especially once you as a salesperson have worked your way up into management, as your team will respect you substantially more if they see you putting in the work and getting your hands dirty, such as cold calling in the trenches or conducting a sales call exactly as you coached your team.
Okay, so for our hands-on activity, we were instructed to conduct a morals and commissions questionnaire and send it out to our classmates. So the questionnaire consisted of 7 rounds of questions. All participants were separated into 2 groups, Group A and B. The goal for each group was to accumulate as many points as possible without helping or hindering the other group. Each question put the participants in the shoes of a salesperson working for commission on sales. The participants were instructed to choose between 2 types of customers for whom to sell. The options were distinguished between red and blue. The ultimate objective of this questionnaire was to have the participants take ownership of their personal convictions. All right, so moving on to round 1, the scenario, like all the other rounds, where you're a salesperson working for commission on sales. You essentially have a choice of pursuing 2 types of customers for whom to sell. You can, for round 1, the options were choose red, which is positioned as unethical, but likely to result in relatively more attractive sales, or choose blue, which is positioned as ethical, but unlikely to result in relatively more attractive sales. So the results for round 1, 25% chose red, while 75% chose blue. Moving on to round 2, same scenario, but the options changed to choose red by telling a current customer of yours that if they buy from you now, you'll be able to reach your upcoming quota. Or choose blue by working harder to make a sales without mentioning the risk of not meeting upcoming quota. So for this, the results were only 1 person voted for red, while the rest of participants, 93%, voted for blue. Now moving on to round 3, same scenario, but the options changed to choose red by going back door and finding the decision maker in charge at the buying company who makes final decisions regarding which salesperson proposal gets accepted after the RFP is posted, or choose blue by abiding by rules and submitting proposals through. So for this round, about 78% chose red, while around 63% chose blue. So the questionnaire rounds compared to moral and style statistics. The red options throughout the questionnaire were all considered to be morally wrong. Participants may have chosen or were tempted to choose this option because it provided a current profitable outcome for the salesperson. Although the red options seem to be more profitable in the current moment, since these options were morally wrong, by choosing the red options, this would result in hurting the salesperson in their upcoming in their company in the long run. The blue options throughout the questionnaire were all considered to be morally right. The majority of participants chose the blue options, most likely due to their moral compass and being able to decipher between what's morally right and wrong. Although the blue options were popularly chosen, participants may have hesitated to choose these options because they weren't profitably as the red options. Even though the blue options did not guarantee current profitability like the red options, the blue options did guarantee a better payoff in the long run.
Now looking at some statistical analysis for round one. Michelle kind of just touched on this, but for the round one on the morals and commission questionnaire, it was 75 to 25%. This percentage was favored by the blue option. Also, like what Michelle said, is this option compared to the red was the more ethical option. Once again, 12 out of 6 people, 12 out of 16 people chose this option, showing that they'd rather do the right thing, even though it will result in lower sales. In conclusion to this goes to show that people's morals are more important than the amount of pay that they will receive. Next, looking at the next analysis that we dove into is still hanging with the round one results, but this kind of looks at the styles more of ethics that we were dealing with, the 2 styles here. The majority of the participants chose the blue option, like I stated earlier, because of the teleological ethics. They determined this was the best option because of the consequences that would follow choosing the other option, the red option. The red option can result in extreme consequences like being fired or even get in trouble with the law. And this goes to show that this was very similar in all rounds of questionnaire that we had. And then lastly, just some simple solutions for all these different schemes that could come about for a commission scheme. I believe the couple of tasks you need to do for a more ethical commission scheme is all within the company itself. I believe in building a culture of integrity is the most important task. The culture within the company, if done correctly, will make it very difficult for employees to make unethical decisions. The other task is having a more values focus in big and small decisions. This kind of goes along with having the right culture within the company. This would just help this idea of keeping their values in big and small choices the employees have to make within the company on a daily basis. With the hiring scheme, having a hiring scheme aimed at reducing unethical decision making would be beneficial because you want to make hiring choices that are not discriminatory towards any group of people, of course. And then regarding the interview structure, keeping it the same with all candidates would be the right thing to do. And then lastly, new training scheme. A training scheme to help reduce unethical decision making would be beneficial for both employees and employers with role ambiguity. Specifically, if you do not understand your position, the job tasks, and priorities, you will be more inclined to make an unethical decision because you are uncertain in your role. Solid training also that sets expectations and allows employees to feel comfortable if they need to ask questions for clarification. And that is it for our presentation on morals and commission.